Oh,
I threw up into my mouth.
yeah. We are here. That's right. The Kung Fu Sith Lords are here back again. That's right. And the second, blah, blah, blah. 22nd, I think I'm drinking alcohol too. 22nd episode of Versus. What is going on? All the badasses and one great ass is here hanging out today on the channel. Who do we got here? We have the legend, the first legend, Kung Fu genius himself. That's right, Alex Richter, the Wing Chun master, is here hanging out with us. That's right.
Hey,
gotta
guys.
represent that Wing Chun. That's right. We got Frankie Pozos. That's right. An hour to kill. That's right. The master of remaster, Frank Jang, is in the house as well. Support Eureka 88 Films and Well Go USA. They have great badassity stuff here, and Kung Fu Santa. That's right. Rick Myers, Films of Fury, buy the book. That's right. Watch the movie. Buy the movie. Oh, what do we got there? Target?
Target. My comic.
All right. I'm sure he'll talk about Target a little bit later. All right. And as always, the filmmaker Kyle Wong. Night Watch. That's right. The trailer has dropped. Make sure you guys check it out on YouTube. Check out the trailer. It is some badass stuff. That's right. And, oh shit, he is back. FJ DeSanto. That's right. The showrunner of the successful popular Transformers War of Cybertron series on Netflix. And we are here today to talk about two of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. In the history of sci-fi, sci-fi. That's right. We're here to talk about The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. Which one is the worst in the Disney trilogy?
I'm not voting. I'm not choosing.
He's not voting.
I thought you had your choice. I thought
You had to vote.
No, because I think I thought the whole point, which stemmed out of last week's fight, was to discuss how they're both flawed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis the first movie and the franchise as a whole.
Yeah.
But we still got to choose at the end which one we think's the worst. We still
I
got
will
to choose.
nothing. I will choose.
All right.
I will like
Your problem.
Force Ghost thing. I'll just dissolve into.
FJ's just here to talk about it. There's no vote from FJ. He's just here to chat. All right. Movie Dojo Army. We got Jake Hall in the house. I Love Food, Lady Danish, Heather Love, Evelina. That's right. Kim in the house. Michael Gonzalez. Brian. That's right. Nate Dogg. All the badasses are here today. Red Eclipse Films. Oh, yeah. They are here.
Welcome to Axico. Welcome to Axico.
Oh, God.
Shout out to Louis Lecca from Nuke the Fridge and Nerd Report. He was not able to hang out with us tonight, but it's all good. All right. You guys ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Good.
I guess.
we already decided after you get the last word. We're giving you
Yes. FJ gets the last word.
Yeah.
I'm going to go take a nap while you all.
All right.
I'll go first since I'm
Sure.
What a shocker.
Go ahead.
What a shock.
this whole situation, it's like, for me, well, first of all, Star Wars, the original Star Wars had an incredible effect on me. I was thinking about this, that I'm really not a huge fan because I only think there are really only three, as far as I'm concerned, three good Star Wars movies. Rogue One, what was originally called Star Wars, and then Empire Strikes Back. That's as far as I was concerned. The rest are different levels of disappointing. But the original Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back was so that I wrote my two science fiction novels, Doomstar and Return to Doomstar, pretty much right after I saw Star Wars. I literally said to my publisher and my agent, because I was a member of the Science Fiction Writers of America, and I said, nobody's writing science fiction in the spirit of Star Wars. All the other authors think it's below them. So this is still very popular. Like I said last week, Disney said they were going to buy this, but instead they cannibalized it for Treasure Planet, and it turns out Last Jedi probably. And so for me, these two movies, it's the difference between a foolhardy suicide mission and a cowardly retreat. One is a Star Wars movie for people who don't like Star Wars movies, and the other one is a Star Wars movie for people who maybe like Star Wars movies too much. And as such, I mean, are we going to start with one, or are we just going to talk about all of them at the same time?
No, we'll do Last Jedi first. We'll go around the room.
Last Jedi first?
Mm-hmm.
Last Jedi tickled the crap out of me because I enjoyed The Force Awakens, but I heard the complaints about how derivative it was and what a reboot it was and how it wasn't original and how it was so predictable. So again, I go into the theater not worshiping it, just wanting to see a good movie, and I've liked everything Rian Johnson has done up until his Star Wars movie. And I even liked that because I liked him. I liked the Brothers Bloom. I loved Brick. I mean, I just think he's great. And so when he pulls the big trick, which I was going, really? You're going to do that? Because that was the only thing. All the other tricks he pulled, I thought were justified in their own way. But the big trick in terms of Luke Skywalker's character, I thought was, oh wow, man, you're smacking your audience right across the face, and you're going to spend the rest of the movie trying to make them accept it. Well, I just said I thought it was a mistake to do that, but there was so much else in the movie I liked, and I loved the ending. I loved what he did, semi-ignoring what he's already done to Luke Skywalker. It seems so out of character. But at the end, when he does the trick and they unleash on him, I still get goosebumps thinking about that sequence. And I absolutely adored the ending because, again, if you had read my science fiction, my Star Wars inspired novels, you would see that I do something very similar, not only to what they do in The Last Jedi, but the end of The Last Jedi, specifically the broom. Because as a kung fu guy, as a person who's trying to be great ass, I understand that it shouldn't be unique. Using chi that we use and the force that they use shouldn't be unique to certain individuals. It should be available to everyone. Because we live in a supra-human world, not a superhuman one. Michael Jordan, Albert Einstein, they're able to be supra-humans, going as far physically and mentally as a human can go, which we can all do. So when that kid does the broom at the end, I went, awesome. I can't wait to see the next one. And I'll leave it on. Move it on, Kyle. We'll come back to me when it's.
No, I'll go next.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Super chat. Bo in the house says. There you go. Getting his
My
opinion
man
there.
paid $5 to say that. I respect.
That's right.
Yeah.
Make sure.
That's commitment.
It's commitment, man. Maybe
Welcome
more
to
of that.
Mexico.
There may be more. All right, Last Jedi. So again, Force Awakens, at the time when we seen it, we were gushing, we were going crazy, we were making every excuse in the book for Rey. We were Team Rey all the way. And, the movie, it was weird. When we got done watching it, we were so conflicted on what we saw, and we were trying to process it, that we literally couldn't even do a movie review. We came home and just sat here and just gave our thoughts. And you could tell, if you go and watch that video, you could tell we're trying to be positive because it's Star Wars, glowy sticks. We like the sticks that glow, right? And so it's like, woo, right? Porgs. Maybe want to eat some chicken, right? I wanted to get some KFC after the movie. So then, we were sitting down watching it, and then we talked about it later. And by the end of our conversation, our thoughts, we were like, we recommend it? You know what I mean? It was weird. We were very torn with it. I don't want to talk too much about it, but the things I did like, it's the whole subvert your expectations thing. I know everybody says that, and it's been done to death, but it's true because that's what Rian Johnson wanted to do. And we'll let FJ and everybody else chime in on that. But the thing was that I didn't mind the concept of a broken Luke. I thought that was interesting. The problem, though, I mean, some of the best heroes, right, are the heroes that aren't perfect. Some of the best heroes go through shit, and then by the end, they come out of it, and we root for them to come out of it. Those are the best heroes, right? Not just perfect from beginning to end and not having to struggle and do anything. So I actually didn't mind the concept of a broken Luke. But when it was just the execution of it, man. Like, he's just standing crazily over Kylo Ren, like, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, that was it? Like, come on. Like, why is Kylo just hates him so much? He's so freaked out at Luke. Like, we needed to see more of that. You know, we needed to explore more of that. It felt so rushed. Again, the concept is fine. I actually didn't mind Luke saying, the Jedi, fuck the Jedi ways, and you don't want to be a Jedi. Da, 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 da. I don't mind a broken Luke. But, we were all waiting for him to, come out of it and come back and do something heroic. And they kind of do that at the end, but it just wasn't satisfying. It just wasn't satisfying for me. I mean, and I'll say this. In the theater, when Luke arrives at the end, and he shows up in front of the First Order when they're trying to get in to kill the last 20 out of 4,000 rebels that are left. When he showed up, and Kylo's like, blast that motherfucker, and all the lasers and everything was shooting them, and then Luke was still standing there, and he does this. When he did that, the whole entire audience erupted. And then, he's not there. Okay. So it was just kind of like, are we disappointed or not? He gave his all, and then he used all of his force, and then he died and floated away. But it's okay, though. It's okay because it ends with him looking at the two suns. So it's okay that he died and went out kind of like a bitch. It's all right because, hey, two suns reference. So we were okay with the movie. We were like, yeah, we liked it.
That's a good thing.
But over the years, rewatching it and revisiting it, it just makes me angry now.
Yeah.
And it just makes me angry. And Rise of Skywalker, again, same shit, makes me angry. You're going to find out which one I'm choosing at the end, of course. But it's frustrating. I actually didn't mind the introduction, the whole Kylo and Rey's interaction with them doing the whole psychic force thing, and it's raining where, that's the next movie. But yeah, force timing. Thank you, FJ. I didn't mind that. I was like, well, that's different. I don't mind that. But it's just, we got fucking,
I don't mind a broken Luke.
Now this right here. So in the theater, when this happened, in the theater, the audience laughed hysterically in the theater.
Yeah, because it's awful.
Now half of me is like, hey, we finally get to see Leia do some force powers, right? But then the other half of me is like, did we have to have her do Super Leia? Like, the whole audience laughed. And now it's just exhausting watching both of these movies now. And I'm pretty much done. I'm completely done with this trilogy. I might actually hate it. To be honest, I might actually hate it because I hope they Hollywood won't learn. They won't learn, but I fingers crossed for them to learn that planning is everything. Plan ahead. Don't just throw your chips in there and say, hey, the glowy sticks are there, so they'll show up. You know what I mean? And we all know what Mark Hamill thinks of this movie. Mark Hamill has not been quiet after this movie came out, okay? And what they did to his character. But, I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm just going to rant. And we got a lot of people here. But, beautiful looking. Special effects are great. Cinematography is great. It's nice to look at. There's some semi-decent action sequences. And here's the thing with Rose. I actually liked Rose when she first appeared in the movie. When she was trying to keep Finn, it's like, oh, you trying to desert? Wait, hold on, Finn. You trying to desert us? Oh, no. Let me whoop your ass, Finn. I was like, okay, she's spunky. She's got some spunk. I was okay with Rose. And then I was like, oh, we're following Rose through half of this movie? Wait, what is happening right now? Wait, we're following her adventure where we're saving the fucking animals. It's all about saving the fucking animals. Really? What is happening? What is happening? And Finn, let's be honest. Finn is the biggest Rey simp ever in the history of simps. Okay? This is all Finn did.
Oh,
This is all he did. Rey. All right? And even in the next movie. All right? So I was actually like, okay, for once, he's not simping after Rey. It's not just Rey, all Rey, Rey. He actually was like, you know what? Fuck all this. I'm actually going to have a character arc finally, and I'm going to sacrifice myself to save the rebels. I was like, you know what? Yes. And as soon as he was about to sacrifice himself, I was like, yeah, Finn, I'm on Team Finn now. And Rose fucks all that up and almost kills both of them just to have a stupid kiss. And I love the line where she's like, we did this for love. It's for all this worth it because of the people we love and fighting for love. Meanwhile, the rebels are getting fucking bombed in the background. I don't know if anybody found that hilariously ironic.
And no one's
during
coming
that
out
scene.
to get them. They're literally
Yeah.
in front of the fucking
Cannon.
all the Imperial, vehicles, and no one's sitting there going, "Get them."
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, it has nothing to do with Rose's look. Even if Rose was gorgeous, I still would have been annoyed. Okay.
Was that Last Jedi or was that Skywalker? Which one was that?
That's Last Jedi.
Last
Oh,
Jedi.
Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I put that on.
So again, and just the whole
Wow, you must really love the movie if you don't remember that.
I do not.
All right. So enough of my yakking. Otherwise, I'll yak for 3 hours about this movie. It's a waste. Both of these movies are waste. All right. Kyle, go for it, brother.
Let's see. I remember sitting there and just when they announced Rian Johnson to be the director, I said, okay, this will be interesting. And the fact that he wrote and directed himself. I appreciate them giving him the freedom, but that's when Lucasfilm and Disney just backpedaled after it released. And I was like, wow, there we go. And we'll talk about that when we get to Rise of Skywalker. But I will want to say, Disney really was ballsy to actually, give Rian Johnson a chance to write a Star Wars film. And as we all discussed last week, where someone said that Rian Johnson basically did not like the other Star Wars film, so he made his own. And when I went to see this, I think my friend and I saw this at 10 p.m. on opening night, and I just sat there going I have to go to the bathroom. Went there, came back. I'm like, oh, this is still on. What the fuck? And I just kept sitting there going what the fuck? This whole film just kept me saying what the fuck to a lot of things. Like how Rey was training with Luke, trying to have Luke train her to the point where, all right, you want to learn now? Okay, I'm going to show you first. This is what I do. This is literally what I do. And he just sits there milking that one thing and just drinking the blue milk and say, all right, come on. Exactly.
Our hero, ladies and gentlemen.
The introducing Holdo as interim general when they had Leia incapacitated. Her keeping the plan away from Poe, it
was stupid.
It was really stupid because the side fact that you have this mutiny happening and then knock him out in the end, only to realize, oh yeah, we were just gonna sneak away while she just commits this huge maneuver through the whole fleet, and you're just sitting there going you could have just told, you know what, never mind. And then of course someone will talk about the Canto Bright sequence, which is totally unnecessary and a waste of Benicio del Toro being the code breaker, which he did nothing of the sort. He did nothing of the code breaking. We don't know what this code breaker is. And I will say the only positive thing was the kind of connection that Rey and Kylo have. And then even leading up to the point where he it really did like shock me to that point where he had Snoke believe that he was gonna kill Rey, and then next thing you know, the lightsaber goes right through Snoke, and she grabs the lightsaber, and I just sat there going like, all right, let's see how this goes. And then the whole fight seems just trash. I'm just sitting there going like, yep, what is this? And then right when he says, just join me, and then we'll forget all this. And again with Luke just using all his force powers, and he says, finally, I can step away from this. Me and Harrison Ford are just gonna go sit back and drink and talk about how crap this franchise has gotten later. They probably did that right after, but other than
I'm gonna
that,
have to. No, you're right, Kyle. I'm gonna have to agree though with the Red Letter Media video, and they were talking about how there was build up to the them teaming up temporarily to fight the Red Guards after Snoke got killed. There was actually build up to that. And then him saying, this should have, fuck the First Order. Let's kill it. Let's burn it all. Let's do what we want to do. Join me. Credits. That's where the movie should have ended. That would have been perfect because they didn't completely shit on Luke. She left Luke. Is like, fuck you. I'm going to get my own, I'm going to find my own way. And Luke's still stuck on the island, and we can redeem his character for the next movie. That would have been a perfect ending for it. I think they should have just ended it right there.
I agree. And honestly, there's not much to me to rant about because everyone else is going to rant about the same thing. So I'm going to leave that to everyone else. Right. And then, Frank.
Frank, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep it brief because I really want to hear from the number one Poe Dameron fan. So I'll keep it brief. Like I mentioned before, I've seen so many movies. Whenever I go see a new one, I want to be surprised. And in some way, this movie did surprise me in several aspects, and that took me, it took me out of my expectation. Snoke getting killed, Luke being Luke really not being there at the end. Those surprised me, and I like that. And I also felt that this film kind of it looks like a Star Wars movie in a sense that there's different worlds. I know everybody hates those blue-titted, the animals and stuff. But hey, that's Star Wars. It makes you feel like we're back in the Star Wars universe with all these different creatures and stuff, and they travel to a different world. I hated the casino sequence. I thought that was really juvenile. Really hated that. I agree that the Benicio del Toro character did nothing. I don't know why he was cast. It could have been anybody. It could have been any actor playing that character, and he like Kyle said, he really did nothing.
Yeah.
That whole middle sequence, I really hate that. This whole sequence in Casino Planet, I mean, I just hated it so much. I just felt that it was totally unnecessary, and I agree that the storyline shouldn't have deviated from Rose and Finn going here, trying to find the clue or what have you. They should have just stayed with the rebels, trying to escape, and then also Kyle and Ren. And I agree with, I think it was Samurai who said, I really liked what he said about, after Kylo Ren kill Snork and then say join me, and then that would have been really a great way to end the film. That would be the ultimate cliffhanger. And I like how that story was developing too. You still didn't know where Rey came from. You still have no idea whether Kylo Ren was lying or not, right? He said you were nobody. You were like an orphan or just a scavenger. A child scavenger. So at that point, you're thinking, is he telling the truth, or he's just leading her on? Pulling her leg. So that was interesting. I like the cinematography of this film. I think it was probably one of the most beautifully filmed Star Wars film among all the the recent ones. Other than that, I mean, and like I mentioned before last week, you really should watch that documentary on the disc, The Director and the Jedi. It might change your mind a little. I neither hate or really hate or love this film, but watching the documentary did make me think twice about the decisions that were made by Johnson on certain characters, how they act, and how they, how the story went. So it kind of made me tolerate this film a little bit more. All right, but still, it wasn't a bad film. It just has really some bad moments, I thought. And yeah, so that's right. That's pretty much it. Right. Yeah.
Was anybody okay with Yoda coming down, the ghost of Yoda coming down, and saying, "This is all bullshit"? The Jedi's bullshit, and the Jedi texts are bullshit.
If
It's all
you
shit.
if you have a plan to do that, where Luke has cut himself off from the Force, which is stupid to begin with, and then when he reopens up, and you don't have Obi-Wan or Anakin and Yoda, and this is a problem, symbolic of the movie itself's giant fucking problems, is every opportunity is missed in this. It's literally like 99 out of 100 opportunities in this movie are missed, right, or fucked up, and this is one of them. Every intention of this movie is great. Every execution of it's wrong. 99 out of 100 times. That's a perfect example. Okay, that why is it only Yoda and not Obi-Wan? Like, you end Return of the Jedi with the three of them looking at him. Why do you not? The whole point of Lucas was he always said the trilogies were like music. They would have similar refrains and things would come back, etc. Right? How do you not replicate that moment with Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, and Yoda, and make it about why each one of them failed in their own specific ways as Jedi, just like Luke, and teach the lesson? Anyway, sorry, you asked the question.
Yeah.
No, copy that. Well said. And I didn't know the Jedi ghosts could use lightning powers. I didn't know that. You guys know that?
They have a lot of free. There's a lot of free reign with Force powers in this movie, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. It's
right.
I think you got to evolve that shit. So I don't really have a problem with that.
Alex.
Sorry, I just want to mention one thing. I did like the
Okay.
opening sequence. I thought that was pretty old school Star Wars. That opening, that whole thing with the dragnet and all that. I thought that was actually quite well done.
All right. Copy that. Alex.
Well, I feel a bit disappointed because I came on here thinking that Rick was going to be an ardent defender of The Last Jedi from the messages last week. I thought he was going to come and tell me how Rian Johnson is the most brilliant person who subverted all of our expectations, but was also simultaneously backstabbed by Disney and yet still made a masterpiece. And here I find myself totally agreeing with Rick on this. And I'm like, I thought I was coming here for a kung fu showdown, and it's just like
Rick subverted your
he
expectations.
subverted in perfect Rian Johnson fashion. Like that.
Alex, that kung fu guys don't do that martial art bullshit.
Faked out again. So, I feel like obviously everything that needs to be said about this movie has already been said, and I totally agree with Samurai. I pretty much agree with everyone who said something, because there's so many different ways you can look at how this film is problematic. From a writing perspective, from a pacing perspective, the character arcs or lack thereof, and then the whole thing about what they did with the legacy characters, and it's the second movie of a trilogy, and who's really the villain? Kylo has already been defeated in the first film, which you can blame that on JJ, all right? But in this, it's like, oh, he's not Darth Vader. He was a Darth Vader fanboy, and now he's going to rebel against that. Okay, well, now we got this other guy, Snoke. Oh, fuck that. We're just going to kill that guy. Hux, that guy's also an asshole. So where's the conflict? Like, I also agree with the whole red letter media thing when they were kind of where it was like that chance where Rey and Kylo were going to team up, and I'm like, oh wow, this is really interesting because he kills Snoke and maybe he's still bad and she's weak in the Force, so he can convince her, and then Luke's gonna have to come back. Like, I was like, wow, this is really interesting, and then it wasn't just like subverting our expectations on like, oh, Luke's a grumpy dude and like all this stuff, but it was also like you set something up and then you just pushed it to the side and went to another one of the movie's 10 B plots. And so I find myself looking like then same like we said, Samurai, I had no problem with Rose Tico at the beginning, and then like useless side plot for her, and then Finn's character, whom I was super excited about, they did nothing with him, and it was just like, oh, kind of a love story, maybe something with Rey at the beginning. Oh no, forget that. Now it's something else, and Rose ruins his chance to have a character arc and be a hero at the end. So it's like not just subverting our expectations of Star Wars, but it's just subverting any chance of good writing. Like
This is supposed to be funny, right? This scene.
yeah,
God.
it's supposed to be funny, and and no one's mentioned the your mama jokes at the beginning of the opening scene, like just way off brand for Star Wars. And hey, if they did it well and it was funny, you'd be like, hey, that was a risk and it paid off. But it fell flat. Every chance of humor fell flat, and Rey's training was non-existent. How is she the way she is? Who cares? How can she do the things that she does? Nobody knows. Nobody cares. And so you just find yourself like constantly trying to create meaning out of all these meaningless things so you can have some headcanon that makes sense. And at the end, you just feel like it's just a wasted wet rag. And so like, anyway, also comparing these two films is like, I was thinking about it. It's like comparing two different turds, each with a different color bow tie on it. And so
not since we reviewed Max Payne versus Hitman. I apologize about that, but yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, like everyone talked about what happened to Luke. Everyone talked about Leia and the Mary Poppins Leia and stuff. And for me, it's like it can be summed up with there's no real A plot and no real villain, and that's a problem for a film, regardless of what the legacy of the characters are. You need to have conflict. You need to have character arcs. And Poe Dameron was the only one who kind of had one in the film, in my opinion. And I'm not even going to get into Holdo. All right, that's all I got to say about that.
You mean the anime character from Robotech? But Alex, it had one of the greatest villains of all time, one of the greatest and most memorable villains of all time. Come on!
Yes, this trilogy's wannabe Boba Fett, who also got completely wasted for no reason. I wanted to see her do something, and then what? Nothing. It was just like he didn't like JJ's film, so let's mess up all that stuff, but then not put anything in its place. And again, what are you going to do? That's all I got to say about that.
Well said. Frankie.
Well, I didn't like Force Awakens as like last episode, and so I was kind of happy to watch everyone's reviews like of Last Jedi all like crushed, their souls crushed, because that's how I felt when I saw Force Awakens, So that was a fun thing. But I liked all the crazy ideas that Rian Johnson threw at this. But what I saw, it's pretty much okay. That whole throne room battle with the lightsabers, how it looks cool, it looks awesome. But if you slow it down, you can see some of the guards slowly wait to die. It's horrible. Bad. And that's what this movie is. It's very fucking cool, but there's a lot of ideas that are just not executed very properly. Yeah. I mean, like from the bombing raid, like, but in zero gravity. Why are you doing a bombing raid in zero gravity? I know World War II we're doing that, but in zero gravity doesn't it's cool. And then light speed into another ship. It's a cool idea, but it's never been discussed before, and we act like it's what? All right. Oh, God. But then the whole idea of making Finn look like a fool, like, it just wasn't cool. Like, he's in that goofy suit in the beginning of the frickin' movie. And then it gets undermined by Rose. Poor, beautiful Rose. She's cool, but she keeps on undermining him. Just again and again. Like, are you escaping? What? No, we got to go free these creatures. We got to do this. And he's like, okay. He's our guy. We don't know you. Why are we fucking listening to you, bitch? You know what I mean? But again, this all could have been fixed if they banged, but they didn't bang because this is fucking Disney. You know what I mean? Like, this all would have worked. You realize that if they just got together. But and again, like poor Laura Dern, we hated Laura Dern, and she's freaking a nice lady, and everything she's in, she's so cute and nice. And here I was like, fuck you, Laura Dern.
No, I agree. I think she was miscast. I totally agree.
Yes, exactly. I mean, put somebody, or I don't know. But then again, also, I just got to say this. I hated the Porg. I don't understand it. It's the most lazy design ever. It's just dot, happy face on a puffin. It's a puffin body. And that's it. And everyone's all excited. A chicken, yeah. And then freaking Chewie gets like shamed for eating one, and then he has to have a friend. He had to be shamed. All the other Star Wars movies, creatures died right and left. And a Porg looks at another Porg getting eaten by Chewie, and Chewie's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's an animal. I don't get that.
He
All right,
rips
so
people's arms out of their
That's
sockets.
his deal. His deal. Oh, yeah. Anyway, but that's the deal. I respect Ryan Johnson. He took he pointed with his shot where he was going to hit that home run and he missed. He didn't. He struck out and he got the fuck out. But I respect that.
All right. Everyone's in agreement that I'm pretty sure, or maybe not, that everybody wanted General Leia to do this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People that hate this movie, a lot of them say this is like one of the coolest moments in Star Wars film history. What do you guys think about that?
It's cool.
But
it's just-
visually, yeah.
Yeah.
You said people say that?
I've heard.
All right, well, name three. Name three people.
That's not in this panel.
I don't remember their names.
I still remember. You guys still remember, like, some of the movie theaters have that little notice in the lobby telling people that there's a scene in the film where there's no sound. That was a scene because apparently, when that scene happened, some of the audiences thought there was a problem with the sound, so they complained to the theater.
Oh my God!
And
Are
so
you
in the end, I
serious?
think he did Regal. One of the chains, that Regal AMC, has actually put up this sign
Wow.
letting people know that there's a scene in the movie where there'll be no sound for at least 10 seconds or what have you. And it was like part of the film is not a sound problem. That was the scene.
Wow,
Did,
that's really
did
bad.
FJ get to go yet?
No, he's going right now.
Okay, good.
Wait, you
Go
don't
for it,
remember?
MJ.
I haven't spoken.
You thought, but I seem to think I got the impression when Preston asked about the silent scene that he thought that you had already spoken. But go for it.
No, he's building up because he knows he's got to cut like 30 minutes of me now. About to.
Let's go.
I'm trying to not repeat a lot of the stuff I said last week, which is, but I'll start with this. The two things I did say last week. I hate nothing Star Wars. I hate nothing Star Wars. I'll never hate anything Star Wars. That's the first thing. Second thing, I go back to what I said before. Every intention, I said this to Rick last week. If you told me this movie, if you pitched this movie to me, I would think it's the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. And the execution from the script onwards is all wrong. It's absolutely all wrong. And it's an absolute shit show. And why it's a shit show is this is the second act in a 3-act piece. And to sit there and ignore and subvert everything that came in the first movie, almost everything, is, in my opinion, franchise malpractice. And everybody involved with that should be held accountable for that in some way, shape, or form. You've cost this franchise billions because of this movie. Now, if you started the franchise with this tone and these subversive choices, that's a very different conversation. But to sit there and be like, we're going to turn it on its head and to do it in this way doesn't make any fucking sense. Empire Strikes Back is subversive, right? But it's subversive based on what your expectations are based on the first movie. And it advances those characters. The biggest problem with this movie is, and this is what we were talking about last week, is the actor playing Rose Tico is not the problem. The problem is the way the character is written. So in the end, I actually don't know what her skill set is. So when eventually she gets to that moment where they're on the ship and she has her moment, they get caught. I don't know what the fuck she does, right? And that's a failure of the writing and the directing. So let me jump backwards a little bit. Because what I'm saying is JJ did a tremendous job. We talked about this last week. Teeing up these 4 leads. Kylo, Rey, Finn, and Poe. This movie does nothing. One of you guys just said this. Other than Poe. This movie advances nobody. And in fact, sets them all backwards. In particular, Finn. You destroy the character of Finn in this. And that's a humongous problem. And then the biggest problem is the Luke Skywalker stuff. Is no matter what, even when you get that moment where Summer, you were talking about where he shows up at the end and everybody cheers, and then you kill him, word sacrifice. That's not of that character. And I truly believe that character, the second he finds out Han Solo was killed by his son, is just like, where's the Falcon? Let's go. Like, my sister needs me, blah, blah. There's literally nothing, I don't care what happens based on the explanation, that character doesn't do that, right? So I'm going to try and approach this, which I think Rick will appreciate, from the point of view of a writer. I don't know if you guys ever talked about the Solo movie on this show.
No.
Which I think is a great movie, a great Star Wars movie. Let me be clear, right? It's got tons of problems. It's a rushed production, but the script is really, really good. There's a lot of interesting stuff. You can argue whether or not the movie was even necessary to begin with, etc. But I'm going to give you an example of why Solo is a better Star Wars movie than Last Jedi. Okay? There's a scene in Solo, and why it's a better Star Wars movie. And this is all Kasdan, right? It's all Larry Kasdan knows how to do this shit. There's a scene in Solo early on where they're trying to convince Lando to go on the mission with them, where Emilia Clarke's character is saying, hey, we need your ship, we need you to come. And Lando's like, I don't know. You know, they're in this bar, like with the robot fight club and all that shit. And Woody Harrelson shows up, okay? And Lando turns around and sees him. He goes, oh, I know who you are. You're Beckett. You killed Aura Singh. And he turns, he goes, well, it's the fall that killed her. Now, let me explain to you why that's a fantastic Star Wars line and a fantastic Star Wars moment. Is Lando's character completely changes his demeanor. It elevates Beckett's character, right? Okay? So we see something different with Lando. We learn something new about Beckett. This is why Star Wars works on so many levels. The original movies always referred to things that happened in other things. You never question them. So if you don't know who Aura Singh is, it doesn't matter. If you know who she is and you're a fanboy, you think, oh my God, this guy killed a badass sort of legendary sort of cult character in Star Wars. But it doesn't matter if you know her or not, right? Because Lando's character, his demeanor changes so much. Lando, who's cool and suave and blah, 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 has a respect and awe for this guy, right? So what this does is it gives depth to Lando's character that shows, oh, he's not always this thing. He does have respect for people. It elevates the Woody Harrelson character big time. It gives you your fanboy moment, whether you know it or not, or this guy killed Aura Singh, but it advances the story. Yes, I'll go on the mission. Yes, I'll do this because I respect this guy, and it moves the story around. Now I'm going to give you the comparable scene in Last Jedi. Is Leia is laid out. She's in the hospital, wherever the fuck she is, right? And they're all sitting around, and Poe Dameron's expecting to be called become the new leader of the group. And all of a sudden, here's Laura Dern in a gown, which makes no sense. Somehow, in a resistance of like 100 people they've never met before, which makes no sense. She shows up dressed to the nines, which makes no sense, right? And fucking Poe Dameron turns to his alien buddy and goes, that's Haldo? The Battle of blah, 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 Haldo? And not what I expected. And his alien buddy goes, well, I don't know. Right? And it does fucking nothing. It does nothing. It doesn't advance story. I don't understand what Haldo is or who Haldo is and why she's so important, etc. The better way to do it. The problem with this movie is we could do 3 hours and I could tell you the better way to do every one of those scenes. And an example of that is what Haldo should have been was Poe's ex-girlfriend, who were both the students of Leia, who she dumped for her career, and she went on to be this awesome fucking badass. And he's still Leia's sidekick, right? And it should have been a rivalry that existed already. It's like the moment in fucking Empire Strikes Back where Han turns to Leia and goes, you know, that bounty hunter we ran into on Ord Mantell really had me thinking. Boom. Ooh, they went on adventures. They did cool shit. Something happened that made him do this, and it moves the story along. And that's the entire problem with Last Jedi, is Last Jedi does nothing to advance these characters, to push this story along. It's literally a 2.5 hour post-credit scene of Force Awakens. That's all it is, right? Because they ruin Finn. Rey is a moron throughout the whole movie, right? Rey is like, if you watch those two movies back to back, it's like a different actor. It's literally like a different actor, right? But if you sit there and tell me before the movie comes out, she hands Luke the saber and he throws it away, you think, oh my God, that's cool. Like, what's that about? But instead, they do the goofiest moment, and you're going to cut to the shot of it, I'm sure, is the goofiest version of that fucking scene. It's every idea is right, but every choice is wrong. It's crazy. And it has only 2 highlights. I think the throne fight with that whole highlight. I think that's one of the best lightsaber fights on screen. If you can get me to support the guy who killed Han Solo, even though it's his son, to do all that shit, that's great, right? And the opening is good, except the mama jokes. Like, you're sitting there like, why? Like, it should just be like, he's a cocky badass in this ship. It's one X-wing against a whole fleet. And the only thing this movie has really going for it is it's shot beautifully, right? So someone said, talk about Canto Bight stuff, is the whole point of this, and again, I'll give you the better example, is the better version of that movie is instead of, hey, we got to go someplace and find a code breaker, it should have been, hey, Rose Tico, this maintenance kid, is actually a hacker. She can hack it. Let's get her onto the ship. And let's figure out a smart way to get her onto the ship and do the job. And she does it. You know what I mean? And buys them time. It makes no sense that they're chasing these guys for 2 hours. That they couldn't, when Kylo's already come up to them to protect you. He's fucking Darth Vader's grandson. He should have boarded the ship, taken his mother, and been like, fuck you guys. Right? But the problem, so to go with that is, again, the idea, if you pitch the scene of Leia's on the bridge of a ship and it blows up and she uses the Force to survive, you'd be like, what the fuck? This is amazing. And instead, I can't believe there's a Disney movie and no one saw Guardians of the Galaxy, where they literally did the same scene with the same lighting in the first one, and it had 200 times the emotional resonance of, right? The better version of that scene is the bridge blows up and she uses the Force to keep it together in order to save Akbar and all her people, and a couple of people don't make it, and then it falls apart, and then she's just floating there and they have to go get her, right? That's the better version, because, you know, the trailers for this movie are fucking great. Like, you have the bit where, like, is he going to fire on his mother? Like, that's brilliant, right? Like, you're sitting there like, he's got to go with that decision. But instead, he's sitting there, you know, Snoke's in there, go, you failed. You the first movies, I'm going to complete his training. Well, what's that about? And I'll go back to the bigger problem, which I said last week, which is it's JJ's fault, which is you put this movie into a corner by having that cliffhanger at the end, and you have to answer it. Instead of doing those, hey, they've been on adventures, they've been running away from the First Order for like 2-3 years. Finn's been in the coma. He could still have him be in the coma and all that shit. And Rey's been, you know, trying to get Luke to teach her or whatever the fuck, right? We talked about the Shaolin Temple comparison. Every choice is wrong. Every decision is wrong. And like I was saying, like, and I still think, I think I said this last week because I say this shit all the time, is the second they knew before that movie came out that Carrie Fisher had passed away, Luke shouldn't have disappeared. You know, and the best part is he says, see you around, kid, right? Which, again, they don't really pick up in the next movie, for better or for worse. But, you know, you have this whole thing of why did he do it? Like, did he really have to use that much Force to kill himself? You know, and the problem is because they never pay off the Force ghosts in the other movies, etc., right? And you're sitting there going, well, why did he do that? Like, it was cool, but it was like, it wasn't like some great struggle or whatever. And by the way, that's the other thing is, you know, everybody, Luke comes out, right? What it should have been was when they fire on him, he should have been the grand fucking great Jedi master and stopped the beams, turned them around, and destroyed everything except Kylo, right? That would have been a better moment. And then, oh, look, Rick, I'm not going to argue with you over the Broom Boy thing, which is the dumbest fucking shit ever. Because, and I'll tell you why it's dumb. It's dumb because all that shit they're talking at the end. Luke Skywalker did this. Luke Skywalker did this, and they're playing with the dolls. Who the fuck saw it? No one saw it. But distress signal should have gone. And the bit that they do at the end of the third movie, where 1 million ships come, that should Luke Skywalker make a fool out of Kylo Ren, and the First Order has to scamper away because now the rebellion's begun. Instead, going, what the fuck do we do? Right? And it's all now, Ghost idea and he fakes Kylo out is fucking brilliant, right? Like, it's great. But all you had to do was sit there and be like, the second Carrie Fisher died, we need Mark Hamill for the third movie. You know, let's have him, third movie, take the place of his sister and lead them and take them into a new generational relationship. Instead, they sat there and and then Rey is flying around with Chewie. They disappear for 20 minutes at the end. And by the way, okay, we're on a salt planet. Okay. right? And then that whole sequence of we found these old ships and we're going to take them on. They literally do nothing. And that's all. Nobody comes out to fight them except these guys on the ground. Like there's nothing. They fight and then they retreat, and that's it. And the whole point is Rose crashes into Finn, and on paper, and he's going to sacrifice himself for miniature Death Star. That's so lazy. You know what I mean? So lazy. They should. Like nothing is ever fully and that I talk about franchise malpractice.
FJ, you're breaking up. You're breaking up, man.
Yeah, you're breaking up a lot.
Mm.
Are you okay? Oh, did we lose him?
Oh no!
He froze. He froze.
You're frozen now.
All right.
Okay.
Disney heard what he was saying.
In carbonite. You're in carbonite. FJ.
Okay,
No!
he'll come back.
Oh,
He sacrificed himself like Luke has sacrificed for us.
Yeah.
By the time we're done, he'll probably pop back in. So, all right, Rick. Segue, perfect segue, I guess.
Oh, do you want to talk about the next one, or do you want me to start?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead, Rick, because you started the last time.
Yeah, well, I'll. The way I'm looking, I mean, I agree with all of you. I agree with me, and I agree with everyone else. But basically, I came to. I mean, the reaction to. I was getting so much reaction to Last Jedi. I mean, as people were howling in derision and dismay and betrayal, and so I wanted to see what they would do because basically, and what happened is I went to the opening night. Oh, there you go. You're back, FJ.
The Disney lawyer got me. I could hear you guys.
Anyway, I went to the opening night. I saw it 3 times on the opening night. The last time I saw it, I went from one theater to the next and went to the 3D version at the very end and watched the audiences on the second and third one. And I don't know how they were. I felt that they were reacting the same way I did, which was, again, I felt like it was a big Hollywood comedy. It was a disaster movie and a comedy all rolled up into one. And I kept on asking the question that Jay Leno asked Hugh Grant, which was, what were you thinking? And I'm saying now, did Kathleen Kennedy decide that she was going to try to mirror the original trilogy by introducing some really cool ideas in the second movie and then completely ignoring them in the third? Is that what's going on here? But then I said, well, wait a minute. The first movie was okay. The second movie, they kind of shit the bed. But rather than go to the bed, clean up the bed, and put new sheets on the bed, they put a dirty sheet on the bed and then shit on it again. Shit on it with malice aforethought. It was like, I mean, I think anybody want to disagree with me, but I believe that both Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams are good filmmakers, decent filmmakers. They're not bad filmmakers. Although I liked more Rian Johnson movies than I liked J.J. Abrams outside of the Star Wars. But when something like this happens, and I'm a mystery lover, you know, I'm Sherlock Holmes and Ellery Queen and Earl Stanley Gardner. So when I get a movie mystery, I want to solve this movie mystery. And so I am fascinated by this trilogy because I cannot believe that suddenly we have 2 good ship captains who become terrible ship captains whenever they get onto the good ship Star Wars. So I have to believe that it wasn't them, because if they were left to their own devices, they wouldn't shit the bed this egregiously, this aggressively. And whenever I was able to get the inside story on the Superman movies, on the James Bond movies, and on the G.I. Joe movies, by the rest of the crew, it's always some psycho producer and second guessing executives at the studio. But also I look at the other movies that Disney put out, Pixar put out, Disney Animation put out, Marvel puts out. So again, I can't help as a detective, as a Hercule Poirot, to say Jacques Hughes, Lucasfilm, Jacques Hughes, because these are talented people. And this thing is just the only way I can explain to myself how this happened is that there had to be a megalomaniac at the top, just second guessing, third guessing, backstabbing, triple backstabbing, quadruple backstabbing, in order, and basically, JJ, and JJ took the money. JJ took the money, and basically, I used to at the end of the movie, I was saying to people out in the lobby after seeing the third time, this movie smacks of J.J. Abrams being told by everyone who was above him, just finish it. If he would say, well, this doesn't make any sense, and why don't we just finish it. Just finish it. Don't ask questions, just finish it. That's what it looked like. It looked like, let's just get this behind us. We have Favreau and Filoni over here who will save our asses.
They didn't know that.
They
didn't know that.
I know
they didn't know that they were going to have their ass. Look, let me just.
Yes.
I know way too much behind the scenes, which
you're breaking up again, FJ.
Write it down. Hold it up. Record it, because I want to hear this.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Now we can hear you.
Let's just have FJ just go.
Just
do your part, FJ. We'll just go now.
Go, man.
How many Star Wars movies have been made? What's the number?
10? 11?
No. 11. You got the 3 movies, Rogue One, Solo.
Right.
Yeah. What else? Was there another one?
2 other trilogies.
No, that have been made under Disney.
By Disney, yeah.
Disney.
Just a 5.
No. There's more than that. They made Rogue One twice.
Oh.
They made Solo twice. Right?
Yeah.
They made Force Awakens.
I'm losing you again.
What does that all have in common?
Different directors.
No. What does it all have in common?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Missed it again.
Whoever said Kathleen Kennedy.
That was Kathleen Kennedy, yeah. Yeah.
That's where it's all screwed up. That's where it's all fucked up.
That's what I figured.
Okay. So the problem is, let me get into Rise of Skywalker. Oh, what a cutie. The best part of the show. And listen to a bunch of old men yap about movies. This poor kid, come back, Dad, come back. All right, I'll jump into the movie. Is this movie, no matter who directs it, no matter who does it, can't win because the other movie fucked everything up. It fucked everything up. And I don't know if you guys ever read, it's easy to find now online, is Colin Trevorrow, the original director of the third movie, his script. It's literally structurally the same exact problem. First back to the movie, and then get into, and you can't do it. You can't fucking do it. It's impossible. And the Palpatine thing, and it's a case of overthinking so much because the second one didn't deliver on the fan service. The second one is a rushed mess that again has the right intentions, but complete inability to deliver it because the second movie handicaps everything. There's actually some good ideas in there that they don't have time to execute. Unlike Last Jedi, which plods along and does whatever the fuck it wants. This movie just has to sit there and, to Rick's point, just get it over with. Just wrap it up, get her with her own lightsaber, get everybody out of the way, and etc. And the big reveal is it's going to be Palpatine. And again, unlike the other movie, the second movie, which had the right intentions and the poor execution, this one overthinks everything so much that the simpler version of it would have been better. Is you want Rey to be the granddaughter of somebody, you know, like the idea, again, well, she's the Sith now. She's the Palpatine. Okay, that's a cool idea. It would have been better if she was a fucking clone. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been so much easier. You know, there's all these rumors that they had Matt Smith in the movie and he was going to be the young Palpatine in the clone. Because why do you clone somebody and then they're old? Wouldn't you clone somebody to be young, etc.? You know what I mean? Like, the ideas are, again, right, but no ability to execute because you ignored these characters in the last movie, right? So you have to sit there and resolve Kylo. You have to resolve Rey. You have to resolve Finn and Poe, who really get nothing. And they just can't do it. It just completely collapses under the weight of it's like, you know, like when you watch that, you know, these bike races and shit like that, and the domino effect, all the bikes stop, or it all falls apart. It just all collapses. And you know, the thing is, I like Rise of Skywalker simply because it's not Last Jedi. That at least there's fun to it. At least when it opens up, there's something fun, but it's clearly overthought and rushed at the same time. And that's why it doesn't work. None of it works. It's like, we're going to give Poe a backstory because we didn't do that in the other two movies. I said this on last week's show. The fact that that second movie ends with Rey and Poe meeting for the first time is batshit fucking crazy. It's how you sat there and no one mapped out. I'm saying this having now just done this with a franchise where we did 3 seasons of this, where we didn't write a fucking thing until we mapped out at least how it was going to end and where it was going to go. It changes as you keep going, right? But the fact that they didn't sit there and at least have a sketch of an idea. I know JJ did, and they threw it out. And that's when they did the second movie, right? So he tried to squeeze some of that shit back in this, you know, this stuff, etc., right? And how you sit there and you don't sit there and think it's just going to be a game of fucking baton between directors, that it was originally JJ, Rian Johnson, and then Colin Trevorrow. And Trevorrow's script isn't better than Rise of Skywalker. In fact, it only has one really good subplot to it, and that's what they did with Finn, which I won't talk about. What they did with Finn in that script, what Trevorrow should have been retained, and I won't bore you with that. But it serves nothing. But at least when this movie starts, they're bantering, they're characters, they have personalities, which they don't have in the other movie. At least Lando shows up. He really doesn't do anything. But again, and the other problem with JJ stuff is it's filmed like a TV show, and it's approached like a TV show. It's just really just a finale of a TV show, as opposed to epic end of a fucking trilogy. At least Return of the Jedi, you know, which was super derivative and you know, basically just regurgitated the first movie in a lot of ways, at least had an emotional core to it. You know, at least when they hug at the end, I felt something like these guys went through something, etc. Whereas Last Jedi, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything for these fucking people. And I love them, and I love this world. And I'm a guy who could sit there and, you know, I've been called a prequel apologist. But the reason I love the prequels is at least I learned more about these worlds and these characters in a way that was additive to the franchise as a whole in my fandom. Last Jedi didn't do any of that. Canto Bite, fuck you. You know, like, you know, all that shit, right? Like it didn't do, Rose didn't add anything to it, right? And I think JJ made a mistake. JJ should have made Rose a really important character and go, fuck you, this is how she should have been handled. She should have been on the adventure. Said, no, I'm going to go study Star Destroyers with Leia, right? Like, all the, you know, it's just like, come on. Like, you can't polish a turd. And the problem is, you know, Rick was talking about shitting the bed. The problem is they shit on the bed so much in the second movie, you can't get the stain out. That's how I'm going to end it right there. Like that's
perfect. That is perfect. Hey.
Well,
yeah, but there's stuff I like. There's stuff I like in Rise of Skywalker. It's just not, you know, it's like you're sitting there going, this all should have been second movie shit. This all should have been second movie stuff because none of it it doesn't breathe. It doesn't take time to allow it to grow. You know, And then there's just dumb TV shit, the misdirect of Chewie. That's like an episode of a TV show, right? Like, oh, we killed Chewie by accident. Oh, no, there he is.
No, we didn't. I don't think anybody could have cleaned up the bed because
that's the problem.
Actually, controlling the ship was suicidal. I mean,
that's the problem. It's like you sit there, and Rick, you're a writer. You understand this. I mean, it's like when we do Transformers, it's like, and I have a writer's room with like 2 or 3 people for these shows, is like, you have to sit there and police it. You have to sit there and go, guys, I'll use the phrase I used all the time in my professional life, especially when I'm working on something like a Transformers or the other stuff I work on, which are based on IP and pre-existing material. I say to the people who own this shit, the rights, I'll say to Hasbro, you got to tell me what you're doing with the toys. You know, what are the toys? What are the toy lines? What are you doing? Because the more I know in advance, the more I can organically weave it into the show and it doesn't become a commercial for fucking toys. But the key phrase I always say is, I need to know the parameters of the sandbox so we're not wandering around on the beach. And that's what this trilogy is everybody's wandering around the fucking beach going, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, and Lucasfilm is sort of sitting there going, oh, okay, we'll sort of see what happens. And I guarantee when JJ did that first movie, he never thought he was coming back. He thought he had handed them off. And that's why that movie works, because he's a good TV filmmaker, right? Like, he's a good TV director. He set the tone of it. And basically, nobody ran with it. And he came in to clean up the mess, because I guarantee you, it's not Lucasfilm that wanted JJ back because JJ is too much of a captain. It's Disney that wanted JJ back because they went, oh shit, the toys tanked. Oh, the fan base hate this. They cracked the fan base, and only The Mandalorian saved it. And the funny thing is, I don't know if you guys have talked about The Mandalorian on the show, or you guys are watching The Mandalorian. Mandalorian, by the time it's over, will retroactively make this trilogy better, story-wise.
Oh, yeah.
The stuff that they're laying in there. Because I guarantee you, Filoni sat there and went, oh, dude. You know, like watching the movie go, dude. Like, here's all this dangling shit we can make better.
Yeah.
Right?
Even the Bad Batch is doing that.
Yeah, exactly, which I'm really enjoying. But again, because that's being policed. That's being, there's a caretaker. There's attention to it. They're sitting there with Bad Batch going, well, we're going to do this with clones and shit like that, and it's going to tie into Rise of Skywalker because this is this. And it ties into The Mandalorian, and this universe makes sense. The problem is Last Jedi ignored the universe. It ignored everything and was written in a way that was not Star Wars. There's a vernacular to this. There's a language to this. I'm saying this as somebody who's written Star Wars stuff before for Lucasfilm. There's a vernacular. There's a second hand to it that you have to, and you can't systematically have kneecapped Rise of Skywalker by Last Jedi. Sorry, I went on another. I'm worried, like I'm racing because the computer's going to blow up or something.
Oh no, that's why, no. That's why we're glad you went first, just in case you disappeared on us again.
Yeah,
this is why I'm not going to
well
choose.
Said.
I'm not going to choose the movie.
Well, I know we will. Although you pretty much have. You do the.
I know you kind of have actually.
You do the reverse. Because I was offended by Rise of Skywalker as a writer. I was offended because these cheap and easy things. When I originally saw Return of the Jedi for this book, I
never saw that before.
Yeah, when the Emperor was killed at the end of the movie, I went, that makes no sense at all. He has force powers. There's no reason you can't just throw him off something and expect him not to, stop his fall or slow his fall. So when I heard that Palpatine was coming back for Rise of Skywalker, I went, oh, cool. But of course, they handle it in the worst imaginable way.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not credible in any way.
It would have been the most simple thing of, we have this clone, we need this generation's chosen ones to siphon the powers. I mean, it's so fucking simple, right? Like, and that you don't have the ghosts all show up at the end. It's just everything crushed.
Yeah, we got it.
That's not. I feel like it doesn't get a chance.
You're breaking up, but also we got to give somebody else a chance. You be Rise of Skywalker, I'll be the Last Jedi, and let's give these other Jedis a chance.
All right, I'll go ahead and go. I'll make it quick. So, you can go back and watch our trailer reaction to Rise of Skywalker, and you could see our excitement and our hope of, man, I can't wait to see this. Looks awesome because visually, again, special effects, everything was great. So in the trailer, we were like, wow, this looks cool, and oh man, they're look at this shot right here. Oh my god, this is epic. This is amazing. Holy fucking shit. And then we heard, our eyes were wide open and we were just like little kids again, looking at those wonderful glowy sticks. And then we heard, and we were like, oh my god, Sidious, what is happening? Oh my god. So we were like, what is that all about, right? So with Last Jedi, by that point, we were like, we recommend it? I don't know. So we were just kind of like, all right, this is our new hope. Rise of Skywalker is our new hope here. Let's do it. Hopefully J.J. Abrams does it right, and da-da-da-da, and we're hopeful. Trailer looked great. And then we watched the movie. And then after the movie, we did a quick, review vlog in the car. Just really quick, because we wanted to talk about it. Now we will never do that again. I will make a decision now for this channel. There will be no more quick reviews in the car as soon as you get out of the theater, because a lot of times your emotions are you didn't take time to process what you just watched. So a lot of times you're like, oh my god, man, Harrison Ford came back and it was great to see Han Solo in the ghost form, and then Kylo became Ben. Oh man, I was so sad when General Leia's character died. I miss Carrie Fisher. She was awesome. I wish I could go back and delete that video, but I'll leave it there. Now, we didn't rate the movie as high as Force Awakens. It wasn't that highly rated. I was more positive than Lady Fat Blood was, but it was just one of those things that we're never gonna do that again. We're not doing that anymore. And now revisiting it after all these years, and and just it's a mess. It's a mess. And again, special effects are great. It was cool seeing Lando. I liked the concept of Kylo becoming Ben, and I actually dug, just because I was kind of grasping at straws here. Like, all right, let's see what happens. He runs into the Knights of Ren. We had to throw that in there for like 5 seconds, and then him and Rey teaming up here. I sat up on my seat. I'm like, oh great, all right, let's see what happens here. This is unexpected. This is different. Let's see what happens. And none of it mattered. None of it mattered because old Palpy is like Super Saiyan power level over 9,000, and just completely I'm gonna just throw Ben over there. And in the end, it didn't matter because Rey was the strongest of all, and she just beat him by putting 2 lightsabers together and saying, "I am all the Jedi." Blah, 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 blah. And then she killed Palpy. And it didn't make any sense because, again, going back to what Alex said, where's the conflict? And it was like, in this one, if you think about it, where is the conflict? Because he's fighting her, but at the same time, he wants her to kill him? What is happening? So this is like, who wrote this? This doesn't make any sense. I am all of the Sith. Yes, kill me. Oh, no, I'm fighting you. Now kill me. Hey, imagine this face banging somebody a long time ago. Do it. Okay. So, again, it's pretty. And what made me even more... let's go back to our simp. Yay.
Oh, no.
Yay. Simp for Ray Finn.
Right.
Take a shot.
That's all he does. And even in that review in the car, I was like, it's still good. It's still good. My Star Wars is good still. And even I remember saying in the car, like, yeah, it was nice to see they gave Finn kind of something to do. What the fuck was I smoking back then? They didn't do anything with Finn. Finn, in the movie, hey, Ray, I got to tell you something. It's either I love you or I'm force sensitive. And he never gets back with her later. And never says anything. Why did he even have that line in the movie? Should just took that line out of the movie. And the worst of all, who's the most number one biggest Poe Dameron fan here? Is that you, Alex? Oh, okay, it's Frank. I mean FJ.
Okay.
Yeah. I just felt so. This GIF sums up the character right here.
Oh.
This GIF. It's just what he was perfect to be the next leader. I wanted him to be the next leader after Leia was gone. I couldn't wait for Poe to be the next leader. And by the end, in the climax, he's literally going, "Save yourselves! Run away!" I was just like, oh my God. Is there anything else they're going to ruin in this? And I'm sorry, but there was absolutely no way the Rebels should have won. There's no way the Rebels should have won. There was 5 billion Star Destroyers that just conveniently couldn't attack on their own. How convenient, because of the little satellite MacGuffin got taken out and they couldn't work. What? You know what I mean? And then Palpy himself at one point did lightning force and took out the whole fleet by himself. There's no way they should have won, but it's okay because, Rey put 2 lightsabers together and said, "I'm all the Jedi," blah, 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 and then won the fight. So again, another frustrating movie. Frustrating, but there's some cool action sequences in here. There's some special effects that are really good. Cinematography is great. There are, as FJ said, there's a few fun moments. I'm going to have to say this, though, out of the whole trilogy, Kylo Ren is the only character that has a semi-character arc. He's the only one that kind of has a character arc, even though they killed him after he kissed whatchamacallit, which was, a lot of people were pissed off about that. Oh, really quick, before I forget. We went to see this movie with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, she doesn't give a shit, right? She just wants to go out and have a good time and watch movies, right? She doesn't really care. She's not like, she doesn't analyze like we do. She's just like, I'm going to go out and eat some popcorn and watch Star Wars. I love Harrison Ford. She likes everything. When Rey kissed Kylo in this movie, my mother-in-law said, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" I was like, what the hell? She was like, really? Really? And I don't know why they had to kill Kylo off after that. Kylo should have just left Rey and went off to his own adventures. Ben should have went off and had his own adventures. But it's a mess. It's frustrating. We will see what I vote for at the end. But I don't want to talk too much. I know I did, but I had to rant a little bit. So, Frank, we'll go to you, Frank.
Are you awake, Frank? Are you awake?
I'm awake.
Okay.
I'm awake. So again, I'll keep it brief. Yeah, this movie was all over the place. You said to yourself, after all these years, all they can come up with was another plot involving Palpatine. That was 83 for crying out loud. Not counting the prequel, of course, But, the Palpatine, this is like, again, Return of the Jedi 2.0, especially near the end. And like all they could think of was, yeah, she's Palpatine's granddaughter. Come on, you could have made it so much more interesting. I really think that she really should have been just a nobody, just a normal person with no background, whatever, orphan, what have you, not this granddaughter of the Emperor, Sith Emperor. So I just thought that was like been there, done that, and that whole finale, just like Return of the Jedi all over again, with the lightning killing all the rebel fleet. And you could tell, like almost the entire first half was JJ trying to resolve, the shit that Johnson left behind in the Last Jedi. That whole first half. To me, the film really didn't start going until near the middle. Once they got the Jedi dagger and all that. So that,
The Jedi dagger.
What?
The MacGuffin that leads into the MacGuffin.
The dagger is, again, just like, what?
I know. Yeah. And then the thing, that little triangular thing. Come on. It's like a heist movie now, And also, I thought that was kind of poorly shot in some cases. Some of the cinematography was nice, but that entire last half an hour was just way too dark. Like everything was in the dark. Can't you light it better, or can you shoot it a little bit better? It's just hard to see hardly anything. The entire fleet was dark. I get the point, but that that's why I kind of agree that you said JJ was like a more this shot. It was kind of like he's shooting it like a TV movie, and I kind of agree. Cinematically speaking, some of these just look more TV than film. And I thought they really did a poor job on Rose this time. She was really underused. And there's also some really weird inconsistencies. Like, okay, like they were, with the horses on the destroyer. You're telling me, right? You're telling me there's oxygen on Exegol, right? I mean, this is not Earth, so how could they survive on the surface of a destroyer in this foreign planet unless there's oxygen there? It just totally doesn't make sense. So, too many inconsistencies, too many things that you've seen before. Some of the action sequences are nice, but other than that, yeah, it was frustrating. I did like the fact that Ray and Ben did team up together. That was a nice touch in the end. But it's just too much of a previous rehash for me in this film in terms of the storyline. Yep.
Copy that. And when the horses were on top of the ship, I was just waiting for the ship to go whoop.
I know, exactly. But just the fact that there's no oxygen really bothers me. Like, how could they breathe?
It would.
Right.
All right. Well said. Alex?
Well, I think it's also interesting how we review these two films very differently. Like with the Last Jedi, we're always talking about like what they did with the characters and everything. And with this movie, it's just like, oh my God, they're trying to land this ship and there's really no way to land the ship. And so it's like we're not even really discussing so much about the character motivations and what they did with the different characters in this movie. We're just like, Rian Johnson left a steaming pile of dog shit to stay with Rick's analogies, right? It's a very scatological based show theme tonight. It fits perfectly, and
it's fun.
Yes, and so I mean, what was JJ's? It's easy to say, well, he could have done this, he could have done this, but he was handed a steaming pile of dog shit and had to land this plane in a volcano of garbage, and so. It's interesting because no one is talking about anyone's motivation in this movie. Everyone's just going, like, I think Rick said it well, like the Last Jedi was a movie for people who hated Star Wars, and this is a movie for people who light sticks and spaceships and, oh, remember that Emperor guy and remember all this, and we're just going to throw this stuff out of you. It's an incoherent mess, but just accept it and then leave the theater, thinking that you saw a Star Wars film. And, the fake out with Chewie was like, so like there were no stakes again. And just the whole thing was so disappointing. And I mean, it's clearly a worse film in my opinion, because it's just such a jump. Like at least The Last Jedi tried something and stepped on its dick constantly every time it tried it. But like at least Ryan and his round head had some kind of idea, and whether that was a good idea or not, it was an idea. It was all poorly executed, but there was something there. This is just like, I think Rick is right when it was just like, hey, JJ, finish the damn movie. Well, what do you think? Finish the damn movie. Like, anyway, Emperor, whatever, sure. She becomes a Sith, multiple light Sith, whatever. We'll just finish the damn movie because it's not going anywhere. Because what are you going to do? There was nowhere to go. I remember when the spoilers came out for The Rise of Skywalker before the film came out. And then I was like conflicted as to whether I would listen to them, whether they were even true or not. And I was like, I don't even care anymore about this franchise. I mean, this is a franchise I loved so much as a child. I don't care anymore. So I listened to the spoilers, and they were all right. They were all 100% correct. The whole film was leaked. And then I watched it, and I was like, it wouldn't have changed anything if I didn't know this beforehand. It was just terrible. It was just a hot dumpster fire, shitted bed. And that's it. That's all I got to say about that.
This is getting interesting. I'm curious about the end vote results. This is going to be interesting. FJ, I know you don't want to vote, but if there's a tie, can you help us out? Break it? I don't know if you heard me. All right, he may have heard. We're gonna move on. All right, Frankie.
All right. By the time this movie came out, I was already done with this pretty much. But I got saved by the Mandalorian. I was into Star Wars already, so I saw Rise of Skywalker like, whatever, this is a lame duck trilogy. So I just was enjoying laughing at everything they were attempting and trying to do and clean up because I'm like, you're out of here. Jon Favreau already beat you fuckers. So that was my deal. But yeah, it's not good. It's rushed. It's I mean, no character development. I knew they were in trouble when we knew the destruction of the Death Star is on a planet. We were all trying to guess, like, dude, it's the Forest Moon of Endor. It's totally Forest. And they're like, no, it's not. It's another planet. I was like, you cocksuckers. It's so simple. And you're making it so hard. What the fuck? It's the Forest Moon of Endor. We meet Ewoks, our friends that we already know. Anyway. So the red stormtroopers. Whoop de fucking do. Wow, I feel so sorry for those. Yeah.
The Sith troopers.
Sith troopers. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh god, I feel sorry for the people who bought the toys all excited, like, oh wow, that's good for you. It's not gonna be a collectible, maybe. I don't know.
They were just regular stormtroopers.
I know.
They're just red.
Fucking dorks. And then they completely Richard E. Grant, a fucking amazing thespian. He's a thespian, goddammit, and he's just a regular bad guy doing nothing.
Warlock.
Like, it's just nothing. And then Billy D. Williams, he's just in a shed somewhere during that alien Burning Man. Hey, how you doing? And it's like, dude, it's fucking goddamn Lando Calrissian. Give him some respect. He should be at a fucking swanky place. God damn it. Anyway. And then the last thing that was really pissed me off was Chewie just in the end, here's your medal by fucking whatever, Maz Kanata. Here you go. Leia wanted you to have this. And everyone's like, oh, in the theaters. And I was like, fuck you. No. Chewie should suck it. Chewie should be like, fuck you. Han should have gave it to me. Leia should have gave it to me. Fucking Luke should have gave it to me. Fuck you, Maz Kanata, you fake character. You fucking digital creation. Anyway. But I think the winner character that no one had mentioned was Babu Freak. I think he was I love Babu Freak. And I feel ashamed that he might be forgotten. But, Babu Freak, come on, he's great. Yeah, but the problem, the movie sucks. So he'll just be a cult character, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sad. But that's it.
All right, very well said. That's right. Colt 45 gets them every time. Kyle.
I remember having a discussion with a friend right after quarantine happened, and he asked me, what was the last movie that I watched? And I was just like trying to figure it out, going like, was it this one? Was it this one? And all I remembered was like, why was it all shitty movies that I saw before lockdown? I remember like, oh yeah, I worked on that film. That was shit. Grudge was shit. That was like, oh my god, the last movie I saw in theaters was fucking Rise of Skywalker. Fuck. And then I corrected myself and said, no, it was Bad Boys for Life. And I was like, okay, I'm glad I was happy about that one. But then I just remembered, why is Rise of Skywalker? I only saw that movie once. I don't ever want to see this movie ever again. I was like, what was wrong?
Han comes back.
I know.
Han.
And?
Yeah. Is he a Force ghost or what even is he? They don't even tell you.
The whole movie just had me sitting there going like, and? Like, what's going on here? And? Like, Kerry Russell comes into Star Wars just by this. And you're like, oh, Poe and her had a relationship. And it's like, and? What's going on? And then, again, with that stupid dagger. Why does this dagger have these plans on the fucking Death Star? And you're just sitting there going, how are we supposed to know that? Why are we supposed to? And? What's going on? And
Simon, we all care. And we love it that they're doing that because Filoni and Favreau are doing it. We love that they're trying to do it.
Yeah. You said the Bad Batch is doing it already?
Bad Batch is already doing it.
That's cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll leave
that.
Go on, Kyle.
Yeah. So just how everything like in this film tried to semi-fix but yet get it done. I'm just like, yeah, just throw everything. Let's make sure that we have fans by the end of this. And I'm going, no. Everyone's just sitting there going like, well, we'll go with the Mandalorian. Whatever else you got, it better be good. But other than that, all this is bad. Really bad. Like, What happened to, again, Finn and Rose's like subplot? Not even a subplot. There's no reason for them to be in it. Along with Poe. Poe is literally wasted, and yet we're introduced to one character that no one talked about on here. Is it Janna? Janna, who's like the horse rider right there, the one former stormtrooper that became in there, and it's just like everyone's like, who is she? And then Lando's like, let's go find your parents. I'm like, no, don't. Just don't. Just don't. You know what,
I
just
think
leave her.
FJ might know if he can hear me. I'm not sure, but I heard that in the novelization or the books about the book. I mean about the film, the concept art and all that. That she's supposed to be Lando's daughter. He doesn't know. So I don't know.
Can you hear me?
Know.
Yeah.
Yeah, FJ, you're back. Was that true, FJ?
Yeah, it was written where they cut it, where he says, let's go find out and all that stuff at the end is he doesn't know that's his daughter. But like his whole motivation and the reason he stayed on that planet was because his daughter was taken by the First Order and he'd been looking for her for years. That's why he never left that place.
Oh, okay.
Because he had been searching for her and couldn't find her and gave up. And the idea was they would do their thing or whatever. It's inherently stupid because the richer subplot that they never really follow up on is she belongs to a platoon of stormtroopers that also defected like Finn, and you never really develop that either, right? And that's where it all goes to hell. But again, that's another example of why I at least the ideas are there. I mean, I would cut that Lando daughter.
Yeah.
And rather than save his fellow stormtroopers from their enslavement, he just has them all killed.
The thing is, the Trevorrow script had Finn on Coruscant starting revolution troopers that he convinces to join him, which was a much better idea. But even that doesn't work entirely. The idea is better, but it doesn't work in the script either. But what can you do?
Copy that. All right, go ahead, Kyle.
And again, thank you, FJ, for chiming in, because if we saw this, we would go, and
Rise of the Skywalker, and
so, and then we get to finally Ben's whole redemption arc. I'm using that loosely, and when he finally sees Han Solo, I'm just going, how much did they have to pay Harrison Ford to come back
a lot.
and
6 figures?
Just try and like say, yeah, just try and save this movie. What? No. I'm like,
Kyle, there's a reason why you see Harrison Ford at all the openings for Galaxy's Edge and stuff like that, because someone's getting a piece of all that shit.
That's true. But at the same time, like the amount that they had to pay him to just like try and salvage this, in a sense, of just trying to finish the cinematic universe of the Skywalker saga. Fuck, I can't even believe I said that. But the truth is, like, this whole thing was just imploding on itself. And I just, once we got to the revelation that Palpatine was behind it all, and he had this whole fucking, like, platoon of Star Destroyers and everything, I just went, and?
I don't care.
That he didn't even need.
No,
he took down the fleet by himself. He didn't need the Star Destroyers.
And I've been joking around with everyone, like in our little chat here, that the only thing that would have made this fun was the fact that there's already a Google Translate video that has Palpatine just straight up going zappu, 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 and when he literally does it in the sky, I immediately burst out laughing and just hoped, please put in that, because that film would have just made it for me. Just go like, yep, this is where it shit the bed. They tried to cover it up, put more shit on it, and then they lit it on fire, just trying to put more shit on it, and I just went, okay. This is a shitty bed. Why, who built this? Why is this here? And Rey taking the name Skywalker at the end, I just went, just why?
Terrible.
And even Ben like dying. Right when everyone said, or Samurai, I think you said like when Ben died. I just remembered now from episode 3. Padme just gave up the will to live. That's literally Ben. Just gave up the will to live. Like, you know what? I'm out. I'm done. This whole film sucks. I'm dead. Bye. That's what. Yep. I was like, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. And I'm just done with this whole series. Like, I don't want to see any more of a Star Wars franchise based around that.
Did anyone like this scene?
That was okay.
To which I say, and
yeah, I thought it was cool to see the training, but my only issue with it was Luke was way too young in this. They made him look like Episode 4 Luke. I was like, that doesn't make sense. It should be after Return of the Jedi. Luke
After Return of the Jedi, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is an and. It was nice to see something. I guess that was.
Let's vote.
All right, you ready to vote? Ready to vote. All right. Okay.
You need to mute it, please.
I'm going to vote last, as usual. This time, I'm going to leave it today. Frank.
Oh, Frank.
We're going to go Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. Which one is the worst, in your opinion? Let's do it.
Definitely Rise of Skywalker. That's
All right.
Last Jedi,
Okay.
at the very least, the Last Jedi still surprised me. And I like to be surprised. So, yeah.
All right. Copy that. Alex.
The worst, The Last Jedi.
Oh, all right. You fooled me there.
I subverted your expectations.
You have. That's it. Frankie.
Well, yeah, I feel with Last Jedi we can talk about that forever, pretty much. But I feel with Rise of Skywalker, I don't want to ever talk about that movie. I think it's done. So I would say that's the worst one. There you go.
Every week, Frank has surprised me. Every week. All right, Kyle.
I wish I could say both. I really wish, but the truth is, like, the fact that I'll always remember before lockdown, Rise of Skywalker was the last film that I saw in theaters, even though it was bad for life. But the one that I remember the most is Rise of Skywalker, and I hate the Rise of Skywalker for being the last film I saw in theaters. Fuck you, Rise of Skywalker.
All right, so where are we now? Are we tie or what? We're above, right? We only have one Last Jedi vote.
3-1. 3-1.
Okay, Kung Fu Santa.
Well, The Last Jedi is like an adorable baby who shit the bed. You know, put the baby on the bed. Oh, he's adorable, but he shit the bed. However, Rise of Skywalker is one of the prime examples that I've seen of arrogance and dismissal on the part of a company who clearly shows no respect or appreciation or love of its fans. It's a derisive effort. It is a dismissive, derisive effort that basically is saying, this is good enough for you garbage. You don't give a shit. Here you go. Let's just get it out of here. And in fact, we hired somebody who's perfectly capable of cleaning up the bed. But as he tries to clean up the bed, we're just going to keep throwing hunks of shit at him that he has to incorporate into his cleaning of the bed. And it's like, wow, this is one of the most, again, what's the word? Arrogant? Dismissive? I'm missing a word in terms of, it's terrible Hollywood at its worst. It's mean studio and executives trying to hurt people and hurt my soul. So Last Jedi didn't do that. So Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, all right. Man, I sure wish FJ was voting to make things interesting. All right, because I do have the internet poll if we need it, but that's fine. All right. Well, I already know who the winner is now, but I'll say my piece, and all I'll say is this: I'll never watch Rise of Skywalker again. But if I had to, I can sit down and be fascinated watching the train wreck. I can sit down and be fascinated with him taking out a whole fleet by himself. I can just be fascinated by watching, like, wow, they actually tried to clean it up and failed miserably, but I can kind of laugh at it. Last Jedi, all I see is wasted potential, and it just makes me sad. And it's funny because a buddy of mine who was a huge fan of Last Jedi, he called me over the phone, and he told me over the phone, man, I love it when Luke saw the two sons, and I didn't want to break his heart. You know, I'm not an asshole. I didn't be like, yeah, you're wrong, you dick. I was like, right? The whole time. What's so funny is a year later, we started talking about Star Wars movies again. And I was like, oh, Last Jedi is one of your favorites. He was like, fuck that movie. I don't want to talk. I was like, what are you talking about? Fuck that movie. You loved that movie. You gushed about it. I don't want to talk about it. So, again, sometimes it takes a while for it to marinate process what they watch. So my pick was going to be Last Jedi as the worst, but we have gotten outvoted today. FJ could have saved it, but he wants to stay out, but it's always awesome having him here talking movies with us. So the winner of today's versus is, or you can say loser, as the worst in the sequel.
I feel dirty. I need a shower after this.
Never do this again.
I don't know. Sometimes it's fun.
Let's just do the Jackie Chan movies because that's maybe
next week.
We're going to do that now, FJ. We're starting our July celebration of the Kung Fu Extravaganza, which is going to be here in 3 weeks. And so every versus up until then will be a great Kung Fu matchup. And then the Kung Fu Extravaganza on July 22nd.
That's right. Here on the channel. Join us. Tell your friends. Spread the news. Kung Fu Extravaganza is going to be here on the channel, hosted by Kung Fu Santa himself. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I like the Kung Fu verses every week to build up to it. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Talking about all the Star Wars, especially these last two movies, this is what's in my brain right now.
Yeah.
I've lost my mind. I've lost my mind now. I think we can all agree that this clip is more entertaining than both movies.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Can we see this movie? Yeah, we paid to see this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was always fun having all these badasses and one great ass hanging out with us.
Poll? What was the internet poll? The poll from
thank you for reminding me. Thank you, Frank. Here you go. Boom.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, they actually voted Last Jedi as the worst. Yeah,
because the people understand. What you guys don't understand is the damage Last Jedi does to the franchise as a whole.
Yeah.
And that's why your fan poll is going to reflect it that way.
FJ, you could have voted and made it a tie, and we could have won.
There you go. There's the tie. There you go.
Yeah.
It's your fault, FJ. It's all good. But this was a blast.
It's a personal thing not to want to ever truly shit on anything Star Wars.
That's fine. It's all good.
That's my job.
That's Rick's job. But this was awesome. Make sure you guys subscribe to all these YouTube channels for all these guys. Everyone's information in the link below, in the description box below. Eureka, Rick's podcasts, everything is in the description box below. Follow these guys. Support Transformers on Netflix. Next week, we will go back to Kung Fu, son. Stay tuned. We will not ruin it. We will not blow it. You will see it posted next week of what next week's verses will be. But quick segue for tomorrow. We're going to have an early start. It's going to be 1 p.m. Pacific time. Join Samurai tomorrow. We're going to have the great badass martial artist himself, Sonny Pang, is going to be hanging out tomorrow with the Samurai in the movie dojo. We're going to be talking about his filmography. We're going to have some fun. Mr. Badass himself, or the great ass, Sonny Pang, is awesome. He'll be here with us tomorrow. So 1 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure you guys tune in. And as always, we see all you badasses next time. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.